What is going on, garden fans? Welcome back to the Permaculture Homestead. In today's video premiere, I wanted to take you out to the permaculture project site, Locklairs, over in Gaston, South Carolina. This is Zone 8, USA. There's a lot going on, so it's a full walking tour. If you're not already, please hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Really, it helps us out. Come on back. Enjoy the journey. Okay, garden fans, because there is so much going on and we are coming into spring, I am going to give you all the extended tour today of the project site at Locklairs Farm. There is a huge amount of diversity here, way more than my own homestead, and I kind of wanted to share some of that with you here. I'm at the bottom of a hill. As I pan up, you can kind of see we do have a hillside here right in front of me. There's a 20-foot drop in elevation from the watershed up at the top of the hill to basically where I'm standing right now. And we have a series of trenches dug on contour on this hillside to help water these plants that are dug around these swales, which are harvesting water. This is an autumn olive. We have autumn olive as a shrub layer, nitrogen fixation. All of them have been topped off to about 4 or 5 feet tall. And that's as tall as these autumn olive will ever be allowed to get here on this site. It's a mulch plant, it's a chop and drop plant, and it's nitrogen fixation for the pawpaws, which are the main crop on this bottom swale. So I have a series of pawpaws, which are getting a little bit of shade in the early part of their life, not too far from nitrogen fixation, which is feeding them. Now I'm just gonna go swale to swale. It's kind of noisy out here, garden fans. Appreciate y'all hanging. There's a chicken trade show going on right now too, so this place is a hub for a lot of life on the weekends. We have a blueberry patch here. At the very bottom of the hill we have very clay, acid soil, and it was a great place to put blueberries. So we have a huge blueberry patch at the bottom of the hill that is definitively flowering out right now. We got flowers, we got green growth. We're gonna definitely have blueberries. Now this lower swale still needs to be kind of chop and dropped, and then we need to come through and wood chip it all. So the blueberries are our shrub layer, and the tree layer down here at the bottom of the hill are things like mayhaws. So we have a whole bunch of mayhaws on the upper portion of the swale, and they themselves are starting to bud out and put on some green growth. Mayhaws are very similar to apples, a little bit smaller, a little more hardy. Here's another mayhaw. So we have tree layers and we have shrub layers. There is a patch of blackberry and elderberry right here. The next swale up, same story, a little elderberry and wild blackberry patch. These are super thorny wild blackberries, dewberries. They get really large though. These are really big blackberries. And then as an overstory, elderberry. Elderberry gets super tall. Now these things are planted here because the swales are actually kind of tight. The contour lines got a little tight here. So I've got this really wet spot in the hillside, and I've used the elderberry to kind of solidify everything, keep it in place. This is a wild plum, native wild South Carolina plum. And we've uprooted it from the wild and brought it out here, 2 of them, and they're doing good. They're leafing out. Plums are going to be the overstory on this swale, if blackberries are the understory. Comfrey is all over the place. We have comfrey at the base of just about every tree. This is an apricot wanting to start to bud out. There are pomegranate. So some of the leaves, we had a recent frost, some of the leaves have burnt out, but for the most part they're still alive. Pomegranates are all over the place. They're great for Mediterranean Zone 8 environment. Jujube, not doing anything, same as my home. They're not going to get cooking until later in the season when it gets really warm. Next swale up, garden fans. I mean, you can start to see how on a small quarter-acre hillside you can have a lot of diversity. Now here's a swale where we have chopped and dropped everything. We've seeded some clover and then wood chipped over that. Clover has been our nitrogen fixation. The wood chips, of course, they need a little bit of nitrogen to help. That's why we put this nitrogen fixing cover crop in. This is goji berry with another, this is a jujube. And we got patches of jujube here. As we get further up the hill, there's more nuts. These are pineapple guava, 2 shrubs in the landscape. Not too far from that, there's another pomegranate. Leafing out, looking good. Nut tree here, I'm pretty sure this is an almond. More goji berry in the landscape. There's a lot of empty dead space here, garden fans. We've lost, actually no, here's another almond tree. Here's an all-in-one almond that's slowly coming back to life. So we've got some trees that haven't really got strongly established and a lot of dead space. We're covering up a lot of this dead space with obviously more trees and sea berry as a nitrogen fixing understory. We're gonna try sea berry this year. Here's more pineapple guava, more pineapple guava. And now we really start to get mixed polycultures further up the hill here. Here's another almond, all-in-one. We have this patch of blackberries, which is gonna be the dominant understory. A shrub layer in the form of autumn olive. Once again, here's nitrogen fixation for the nearby, what is this, mulberry? Mulberry, mystic red mulberry. So this is a true polyculture here. We have nitrogen fixation, we got this overstory tree, and then this understory layer, this shrub layer, this ground cover layer in the form of blackberry. We mix our fruit and nuts, so not too far from a big tree, we'll have a smaller tree like a plum right here. This is flowered out. And frost damage didn't seem to affect it. And then not too far from that plum, we have, once again, a nut tree. So we do a lot of mixed planting, once again. This is another all-in-one almond tree, leafing out. Not too far from that is nitrogen fixing shrub, autumn olive. And once again, I'm not gonna ever let this autumn olive get taller than 5 or 6 feet tall. Once this nut tree gets about 90 feet tall, it'll have a smaller shrub at the base of it that's feeding it. We will chop and drop. This is literally a chop and drop. Ground cover up here, you're gonna see alpine strawberries. And they're everywhere. I mean, I can't take a step without stepping on some strawberries. So lots of strawberries around here, garden fan. This is a ground cover. And of course there's weeds here like dollar weed. We don't fight the weeds, we work with them. This is a perfect polyculture where we have a nut, a nitrogen fixer, and then another plum not too far away. So fruits, nuts, and berry producing shrubs all in one spot. This is a pear. I don't like pears for South Carolina, they're very prone to blight. But this one seems to have flowered. It looks like it gets enough sun that blight doesn't quite affect it. Chinese chestnut, not too far away. And on our swale mounds, what we're doing this year, and what we've been doing, is trying to incorporate some elderberry along our swale mounds. Elderberry is going to get super tall. We can chop and drop it and lay it down to solidify these swales in the landscape. So all along the swales this year, we're going to be planting lots of elderberry. I like elderberry as a shrub layer. It's great chop and drop, great building material, and it'll help solidify these swales in the landscape. Here's another mulberry right here. Beautiful specimen, pruned out just perfectly. We had a little frost. The fruit on it doesn't seem to be too affected. It might still put out a really good crop. Another good idea, example of polyculturing. Another Chinese chestnut here, which is going to get huge, 80, 90 feet tall. And then this 5 to 6 foot autumn olive shrub, not too far from it, which itself is looking like it's going to flower out. There is a huge amount of diversity here. We are growing so many different crops. If one fails, it doesn't matter. We have something to back it up. We're trying everything for sure. Mostly things that are great for Zone 8 Mediterranean environment. These are hazelnuts right here. We got quite a few hazelnuts out here. There's one, here's another, wanting to start to flower out. Fruit out, flower out, catkin. So I wanted to give you all a long tour today, really walk around, just kind of, you know, spout off some of the things that are growing. And you can see there's a lot more diversity here than my own homestead. And it's still got a lot of potential to it, a lot of room to grow. Please keep in touch. We're going to be doing seminars here at the top of the hill this year. We're going to be doing work seminars, so teaching and then getting hands-on experience. Appreciate y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe as always. God bless.